After years of working on the ramp and now your knees are bothering you and you got this neck pull from lifting fish, you feel like you broke your body down. Well, that was all right with the understanding that this job is going to take care of you too, and that you're part of something. When we were hired, I saw an ad in the paper that says, want a career with Alaska Airlines, and they had all these different frilly things to make that career seem attractive. Join the Alaska world, the family. And so you were lured into this thinking we'll be a part of a bigger thing. And then at some point in time, your value was discredited and they figured they could find someone who can do it better and cheaper. My parents helped out. I had a really inexpensive living situation and I had some savings. But that goes when you have car payments. Boom, there goes a little, there goes a little more, there goes a little more. And for the first time since Alaska, I actually feel like I have something of value. It's not where I would have gone, it's not where I want to be per se, where I thought, but it's the first glimmer of successful employment that I have had since then. So you get a panic job because you have car payments to pay, and so you end up with a job that really is not very user-friendly, and just about the time you're about ready to get the benefits, they get rid of you. And they got rid of everybody. You get stuck in a lot of turbulence when you lose a job. I got up to $14.04, I believe, is where I was. I started off at $7 an hour, and so after 9.5 years, that's where I was. Well, there's no hiding the flight benefits are always nice. If you can afford to go on a trip and you had the time to do it. I might not be able to afford to go, but my parents could go. And so that was something that I could give back to my family, is they could just get on a plane and go. I had paid sick leave and health care benefits. However, I very rarely called in sick, so I didn't actually use that, but I could have, and that's always nice. It feels good to have that insurance. As far as medical benefits go, yeah, I mean, I rarely used that as well, but they did encourage you to take an annual physical, and so you'd be stupid not to. They gave you a day off to do it, and so I guess it was probably if you went and got an annual physical, you would be healthier, and so therefore you're not calling in sick. And so I would do it, and it gave you an opportunity to have dialogue with the doctor and tell him what's going on. Yeah, when you're given a chance to have a physical like that, and they encourage you to take it, it seems so easy to do, you do. And it's never been quite that easy since, and so I actually haven't had a physical since then. So they put together this care team, and I don't believe it had been tested before. We might have actually had the first actual care team. And so I was one of 2 persons on the ramp that actually were part of that. And it was just a voluntary thing. You just went in on a day off. They had a class, and there was other people with you, and they went over some of the previous plane crashes in history and some of the things you would deal with if you were a part of something like that. And one day I was at work, and I heard about this plane that went down, and it's sort of a cold chill. You just all of a sudden you realize, wow, this is scary. What just happened? So they sent me to the Port of Seattle boardroom, where this is going to be the family room, and it was chaotic because you had this big divider, and you had Alaska officials on one side trying to gather information that would come in, and there wasn't a lot coming in. And no one had really been through something like this before, or I wasn't aware of it anyway. Now on the other side, we had people trickling wanting answers, and so it got to the point where they said, well, he works for Alaska, and I didn't have any answers too. And so you just say, well, let's get names written down. Put down the names of who you're here to see and who you are, and we'll come find you. Please have a seat there. And Port of Seattle was excellent. They brought things. They were pretty much saying, what do you need for us? And so whatever I could say, bring, they did. Chairs, fruit bowls, and that can help people. And so when information started coming in, we actually had a system set up, and they would come find me and say, can you find this person? And I actually broke the news to 4 different families. And the last one that I did, it became apparent that we needed to take care of this one because they had out-of-state people coming in. And so I hooked up with a person who was in corporate, and we worked that family until the end of the whole situation. It's tough when you're going from the ramp to other departments because there was this stigma that this is a knuckle-dragging job, and they didn't see us as aspiring to high ideals, and that was a gross misconception of a great many people there. I had thought, especially after 9.5 years, that well, I'm going to stay here because I've invested that time. Why start over again? I know a little bit about this, and I'm starting to now make connections in other areas that maybe I can grow in and be a fuller person. But that didn't happen. Well, you know, you can prepare for the storm because you can see the dark clouds coming, but when it hits, it doesn't matter how much you've battened down the hatches, that wind is coming and you're wondering if your house is going to blow down. When it actually hits, first thing you think of is, oh my gosh, you know, I didn't get out in time. I didn't find someplace else to go. I got car payments. I've got all these bills and stuff. How am I going to do it? What's my credit going to be like? How am I going to survive?